don't know why I said the things I said. Words are like weapons, they wound sometimes. I know I made you cry, but baby, if I could turn back time, I know I was blind, and darling, if I could turn back time,
Oh yeah. Hey guys, how is it going? I'm so excited for today's video because I'm taking you back to 1989. I've been doing a lot of these videos lately, 30th anniversary, 25th anniversary. It's really exciting to go back to these older records, especially from the 80s. I've been on a bit of an 80s binge lately these last few months, and I'm discovering so much amazing new music that I haven't heard before. So, Heart of Stone, Cher was released 30 years ago in 1989. I have not heard this record before. The only tracks I have heard are If I Could Turn Back Time and After All. I think I have a feeling I might have heard Just Like Jesse James before, but it doesn't sound familiar. But I will let you know after I'm done listening if I actually did hear it before. And so I'm kind of going on a Cher journey where I'm listening to her whole discography. I'm discovering all of these new albums from a lot of notable artists like Madonna and Cher and there's so many great albums that I just haven't checked out yet in my brief existence on this planet. So I'm so excited to dig into these older albums. And I already listened to A Dancing Queen from Cher. She released last year. I think it was last year. It was a compilations record of her covering a lot of ABBA's greatest hits. And then I moved on to Believe, her record from the 90s, and then now I'm moving on to Heart of Stone from 1989. I'm so excited. So that was track number 1, If I Could Turn Back Time. And what is there to say about that song? Probably one of Cher's greatest hits ever, one of her most notable songs. Everyone has heard this song before. It is so popular, it is so great. I haven't listened to much music from the 80s, but I feel like this is probably one of the biggest hits from the 80s. And it came in, sorry, my voice cracked there. It came in the later half of the 80s, 1989. So just before the 90s. You can't go wrong with this song. If I Could Turn Back Time, I mean, it's such a catchy hit and it's timeless. I will never get sick of this song. I can listen to it multiple times a day and I would never get bored of it. It's just a great song to dance to have fun to, and it's just amazing.
just like Jesse James. Feel it, I can take it, 'cause if this heart is gonna break, it's gonna take a lot to break it.
What? How have I not heard that song before? What? What? I just need a moment here to process what I just listened to. Ugh. Okay. What kind of bop is this? What? Okay. I'm kind of speechless right now. I'm kind of angry with myself just because how have I not heard this song before? I'm trying to think back. Like, I must have heard this song at some point in my life, and I probably did. Maybe when I was a kid, but it just doesn't ring a bell. But the title looks familiar, so I think maybe through the years as I was scrolling through Cher's most popular songs, I always came across the title of the song, but I never clicked on it to listen to it. But you know what? I clicked on the song finally, and well, you saw for yourself. Anyway. Okay, so now let's move on to track number 3, You Wouldn't Know Love.
Now you're there, so you had your fun. With no love from the heavens above.
Okay, so that was track number 3, You Wouldn't Know Love. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, yes. Give me more. I want it. What is happening? I'm blown away right now. What are these songs I have not heard before? Was this a single? I need to research this album, honestly. Love it, love it. I mean, no words. Okay, I love it. 3 for 3. So now let's move on to track number 4, Heart of Stone. And I will say that this isn't your generic pop record, it's a pop rock record, which I love. I love classic rock so much. I know I do a lot of pop records on this channel, a lot of typical, gay icon artists like Cher and Madonna, but these are artists I had just never checked out before in terms of their discography. But once I'm kind of done with the phase of listening to all, the Cher and Madonna and Kylie Minogue and Celine Dion and Mariah Carey, once I get those out of the way, I want to really delve into more classic rock albums because, like I said, I do love classic rock so much, and there's so many iconic rock records that I haven't even listened to before. So. Okay, so let's track number 4, Heart of Stone, and this was another solid song that I enjoyed listening to. Really great, and what I was picking up from the song, from reading the lyrics, is how one could be losing in life in terms of love or everyday essentials, just moving around in this crazy world called life, how you keep losing in the boxing ring, you keep getting punched out, and there's, a peak season in Lonely Town, there's no room for the innocent, or down and up or up and down, and there's all these unfortunate things occurring, you feel like you can't win, and your heart is just turning to stone because you feel like there's no light at the end of the tunnel. At least that's what I was picking up from the song, that your heart just kind of eventually turns to stone after a while. Once you keep losing once, and then again and again and again and again, your heart just eventually gives up and turns cold. Ice starts running through your veins, and your heart just turns to stone. And that's a little graphic, I will say. I mean, there could be other interpretations of the song, but that's kind of what I picked up. Which is a little bit of a dark analysis, but it's very true, especially in today's world. So that was track number 4, and now we'll move on to track number 5, Still in Love with You. Yes, track number 5, Still in Love with You. I'm in love. Still in love with you. Cher, I'm in love with this album, Heart of Stone. 5 for 5. I love each and every track on here so far. I love it. So much fun. I mean, I don't know what to say. It's just, I love it. I love it. So now let's move on to track number 6, Love on a Rooftop, which is something I always wanted to do, and it's something I always fantasized about because it's so romantic. You always see it in movies or TV shows where you have a couple and it's late at night and they sneak out of the window and they're sitting on the rooftop of a house somewhere and they're looking up at the stars, they're talking about their lives, and they're having these philosophical conversations and expressing their feelings, and it's nighttime, stars are above, it's just very romantic. Anyway, Love on the Rooftop. Yes! These bops, I swear to God. Okay, Love on the Rooftop. Probably one of my favorite tracks on the record so far. Whoa! I love it. I love it. I love these songs. Why wasn't this song a single, honestly? Such a bop. Again, Speechless is just such a great song. I love the lyrics in all these songs. Very great lyrics. I love the songwriters. Diane Warren. When I think of her, I instantly think of Christina Aguilera because I think that was the first time I was introduced to Diane Warren back in the 90s when I listened to I Turn to You by Christina Aguilera. I knew that she wrote quite a few prominent songs, but I didn't realize she wrote for so many different artists through the decades. I didn't know she was this prominent in the music industry. I mean, you learn something new every day, but that's why this song is so great, Love on the Rooftop, because Diane Warren had a hand in crafting it, so good job. Okay, so now let's move on to track number 7, Emotional Fire. Okay, so if what you just saw wasn't the very definition of a song possessing someone, I don't know what is. I mean, I went total Linda Blair right there. Anyway. So now let's move on to track number 8. I mean, okay, slow down, Jesse. First, I need to describe Emotional Fire and what I thought of it. I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay, Emotional Fire. I mean, you guys saw for yourself. I mean, I'm out of breath. I'm exhausted. I mean, I don't need to explain to you why I found that song. You could see for yourself. Anyway, let's move on to track number 8, All Because of You.
Sometimes a heart has a mind of its own. Sometimes, but this time I can't hide from the thought of it. It's around every corner I turn. It's all because of you that I feel this way. All because of you that my heart wants to break. All because of you.
Okay, so that was track number 8, All Because of You. And this was a solid inclusion on the record Heart of Stone. I enjoyed it, but do I enjoy it as much as the other tracks I've listened to so far? No. It's definitely not one of my favorites. This probably wouldn't be a song I would really go back to if I was listening to Heart of Stone again, which of course I will. I'm gonna listen to this album multiple times in the near future. But I don't really see myself going back to this song. I don't want to say it, but I was kind of bored listening to it. So that was kind of a step down, but I still have high hopes for the rest of this record. There's still 4 tracks left, so let's move on to track number 9. Does anybody really fall in love anymore? Truth.
They look me up and down, but they don't look me in the eye. I'm just another stranger in my own hometown. And I'm sad to say to me, like a ghost up in the attic, only love can set me.
Okay, so that was track number 9. Does anybody really fall in love anymore? And I love this song. It's very meaningful and it does speak to the times in 2019. It's really interesting because this song was released 30 years ago and even people back then had a really hard time falling in love. Even someone like Cher, and you gotta think back then they didn't have social media, they didn't have cell phones, people weren't glued to dating apps, people actually met in public and there wasn't Instagram, there wasn't all the filters, there wasn't a screen to hide yourself. You actually had to go out into the world and meet people. And it's just kind of mind-boggling to me that back then people had such a hard time dating. I mean, can you imagine what it's like now compared to 30 years ago? It's just, I guess love has always been difficult. I guess that's the underlining message here is that it's always been difficult to fall in love. I mean, some people can do it so naturally, it happens in an instant and love at first sight doesn't really happen. I mean, I don't want to go all Disney on you guys, but I feel like it can happen. It just depends on the person, depends on the situation, depends on the two parties that are involved. But love isn't dead, love will never be dead. And does anybody really fall in love anymore? Yes, they do. But I feel like especially now in today's day and age, you just have to work really, really hard for it. And I feel like a lot of people today, they kind of jump too quickly into love. They don't really play the field and test the field. They kind of just take the first person that falls in love with them and then they settle and then they end up feeling miserable in that relationship and then they get divorced. I mean, that doesn't always happen in that exact order. I mean, love happens in many different instances. It takes many forms and what have you, but love is just very complicated. I'm just gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna stop rambling. Anyway, so let's move on to track number 10, Starting Over. Okay, so that was track number 10, Starting Over, and I feel like this is a really important song on the record, even though I didn't really care for it. It's not really a song I would go back to, it was just okay, but it's important for the record because the title of the album is Heart of Stone, and now I'm kind of picking up the theme throughout the record of wanting to be in love. I mean, everyone wants to be in love, but questioning love and having bitter resentment when things don't go the way as planned. You keep losing and falling down. It comes to the point where you give up and your heart turns to stone and you become lonely, and some people even choose loneliness over falling in love again because they tried falling in love and it didn't work out for them. And so you start asking yourself, well, does anybody ever fall in love? Does anybody fall in love? Is it all just about hooking up? Especially in 2019, that's a very important question with social media. But now she's saying, she's starting anew. She's going to try and take that first step into trying to find love again. She's heading out into the wilderness, into the horizon, and who knows what will await her. So now let's move on to track number 11, Kiss to Kiss. That was track number 11, Kiss to Kiss. And from my understanding, what I think this song is about, it's about a man who might be in a marriage of some kind or just a relationship. And Cher might be the other woman who this man is gravitating towards. So Cher and this married man, or maybe he's not married, like I said, maybe he's just in a relationship with a woman, but Cher and this man, they're getting together during the day, they're meeting up in these secluded areas like hotels or what have you, or in, a house somewhere, and they're engaging with one another, kiss to kiss, and they're walking on eggshells because the wife is watching this man. She's watching his every move, so Cher and this man have to be careful not to be discovered. And it's how every time Cher and this man make love or what have you, the man has to leave, and there's that sense of loneliness that Cher feels, that sense of dread that they're kind of just living from kiss to kiss. They're just kind of hooking up, and then he's leaving, and then they do it all over again the next day or the next week, and it's just this false interaction of coming and going kiss to kiss. And that, I imagine, can be very lonely, and I don't want to speak about prostitution or anything, but I feel like when it comes to prostitutes or people who work in the sex trade workers who are single, I imagine must be a very lonely existence. Not only is it very unsafe, but it's very lonely, I imagine, because, you gotta make money somehow, and that's how these women and men choose to make a living, but it can be very lonely, I imagine, just engaging with all these different people, and they're just leaving, and there isn't that full-time stability unless you have like a sugar daddy or like a John or what have you, but it can be a very lonely existence. So there's that, there isn't that sense of coming home to someone every day and feeling their warm embrace every day and just be in a stable relationship. I don't want to get into this whole spiel or whatever, but I imagine it can be very lonely and frustrating, what have you. But anyway, so that was Kiss to Kiss. And now we will move on to the final track on the record, track number 12. After All, love theme from Chances Are. But I just want to clarify something first before I get into After All. I want to go back to Kiss and my interpretation of the song because I feel like I went on a bit of a tangent and explanation for what I thought Kiss to Kiss was about, and I saw her talking about prostitution. I wasn't alluding to the fact that Cher was a prostitute in this song. My interpretation of the song was that Cher was the other woman, and Cher was in love with this married man, or this man who had a girlfriend already, and Cher wanted to be in love with this man, but every day they interacted with one another, he had to leave, and she felt a sort of loneliness because she wanted to be with the man, she wanted to be in love with him. And then I started talking about how it must be lonely to be a prostitute because you have to interact with all these clients and every day they have to leave and you just feel this emptiness within you. I imagine that must how it feel to be a prostitute or a sex traffic worker. I'm not trying to make it out to be that Cher was, a prostitute in a song. That's not what I was, talking about. Anyway, I'm just going to clarify that. So now let's move on to track number 12, After All. Okay, so that was track number 12, After All. Cher and Peter Cetera. A beautiful love ballad right there. I loved it. I remember hearing the song for the first time. I think it was earlier this year or sometime last year. And when I heard it, I instantly fell in love with it. It's such a great ballad. And it's one of my favorite Cher ballads. I haven't heard many Cher ballads. Obviously, I haven't listened to many of her albums yet, but this is definitely on the top of my list. Not just ballads, but one of my favorite Cher songs ever. So it's really great. I love it. So that is that. That is all 12 tracks of Heart of Stone. And You saw for yourself, I enjoyed this record so much, and there's so many great bops on here from the 80s, and I'm gonna be listening to this album continuously in the future. I don't have a favorite track. I mean, I'm trying to think of. I mean, obviously, if I could turn back time, but honestly, they're all so good and lots of energy put these songs. The lyrics are beautiful, and I love the theme in the record, Heart of Stone. It's just an amazing record, and I love it. One of my favorite records from the 80s so far, and one of my favorite Cher records so far. So, 2 thumbs up from. Sorry. Okay, sorry, there's like a loose thread on my. What are these called? I forget. Anyway. So thanks for watching, guys. What is your favorite song off of Heart of Stone? What's your thoughts on the album? What was it like when this album came out in the 80s? What was the talk around the water cooler? And yeah, I'm very excited to take my Cher journey listening to her whole discography for the very first time. So that's gonna be exciting. So thanks for watching, guys. You can follow me on Instagram, you can find me on Twitter, you can message me. You can also find me on Apple Music. Like Jesse, you can find out what I'm listening to right now. You can check out my playlists. And yeah, so thanks for watching, guys. And I will see you next time. Bye bye.